Namaskar, I'm Anubhav Ranjan and you're watching Ritam. Canada's seemingly unquestioning support of Sikh separatist movements has reached an alarming level with dubious accusations against India over the death of Sikh extremist, which began with the death of separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. On top of that, numerous attacks on Hindu diaspora and Hindu temples, with the most recent attack on the Hindu Sabha Temple, for which even Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke out for the first time and condemned the attack, calling it a cowardly attempt to tarnish India-Canada relations. Meanwhile, Canada's blind endorsement of Sikh separatism not only tarnishes its relationship with India but also threatens its own national security. Today, in this video, we will slightly look into the history of Canada with its beloved relationship with Sikh separatism. The roots of Sikh immigration to Canada stretch back over a century, with yearly Sikh migrants finding a place in Canadian society. Over the years, the Sikh population has grown significantly, now exceeding 770,000, primarily concentrated in cities like Brampton, Surrey, and Vancouver. While the community's contribution to Canada are commendable, its influence in Canadian politics, especially through the Liberal Party, has allowed dangerous separatist sentiments to take root. This influence, financially and politically, has facilitated an environment where Sikh extremism has flourished under the guise of human rights and self-determination. The demand for Sikh separatist nation movement originating in India in the 1980s turned violent as the radical elements demanded an independent Sikh state called Khalistan. After India cracked down on these separatist terrorists, many fled to countries like Canada. Here they found an environment where political leaders turned a blind eye, allowing extremists to establish networks under Canada's lenient policies. Canada's reluctance to extradite known terrorists, despite India's requests, show a troubling disregard for the implication of harboring such individuals. One of the darkest moments in Canadian history is linked to Sikh separatist extremism. In 1985, Talvinder Singh Parmar orchestrated the Air India bombing, killing 329 people, mostly Canadians, in a brutal attempt to pressure India. The Canadian government's failure to prevent or properly prosecute this atrocity exposed the dangers of permitting extremist ideologies to take root unchecked. One of the most bizarre atrocities of these Sikh separatists is they even celebrate the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on her death anniversaries, which clearly reflects the anti-India stance and appeasing nature of the Canadian government. This tolerance has allowed groups like Sikhs for Justice (SFJ), led by figures like Guru Padwan Singh Pannu, to continually promote anti-India sentiments while inciting violence against Hindus in Canada. The recent murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a known Sikh separatist terrorist linked to the Khalistan Tiger Force, further demonstrates Canada's recklessness. Despite multiple warnings and extradition requests from India, Nijjar was granted Canadian citizenship and allowed to operate freely. When he was killed, rather than addressing his extremist background, Canada shocked the world by accusing India of involvement in his death, without providing concrete evidence. This move not only damaged diplomatic relations but also exposed Canada's desperation to appease its pro-separatist political factions regardless of the consequences. Under the cover of freedom of speech, Sikh separatist rhetoric has become normalized in Canada. Open displays of anti-India sentiment go unchallenged as Canada allows groups like the SFJ to promote divisive agendas. Unfortunately, the situation worsens as Canada's open-door immigration policies inadvertently facilitate the entry of criminals and extremists under the guise of inclusivity. Recently, police in Surrey uncovered a drug lab operated by Indian-origin criminal Gaganpreet Randhawa that could have killed millions. Similarly, cases of students visa holders getting involved in criminal enterprises are rising, adding to Canada's internal challenges. Canada's leniency towards separatism has ultimately caused a rift with one of its key allies, India. Over the last 5 years, diplomatic relations have soared significantly, with India repeatedly voicing concerns over Canada's role as a safe haven for terrorists. Yet Canada continues to downplay these legitimate warnings, choosing instead to appease a vocal separatist minority, all while eroding our once strong friendship with India. Once seen as a friendly partner to India, Canada's tolerance for Sikh extremism has made it a safe haven for anti-India forces. This tolerance has resulted in the loss of a valuable ally, straining diplomatic ties and igniting political tensions. If Canada continues to protect extremists and prioritize separatist support over its relationship with India, it risks isolating itself further, bearing the cost of siding with destructive elements over a once strong friendship with India.